Right back with you on the Rich Van Tassel Show on Steam Radio, as well as my YouTube channel. We're going to be breaking down now the games for coming up on Sunday. We're going to start with the Chicago Bears. They're traveling to Kansas City to play the Chiefs. The injury report for the Chicago Bears: Jermon Bushrod, their offensive tackle, is out. Eddie Royal, their wide receiver, is questionable. Alshon Jeffrey, another wide receiver, is questionable. Jay Cutler, who did go last week, the quarterback, is questionable. Antrell Roll, their safety, is doubtful, and Will Montgomery is on injury reserve. For the Kansas City Chiefs, only one injury listed. It's Albert Wilson, a wide receiver, and he is listed as questionable. You look at this, Kansas City's certainly underachieving this year. Chicago is basically right where I expected them to be. Chicago comes off the win against the Oakland Raiders. Kansas City has really sputtered. They can't seem to be consistent on any such level. So they'll have to move on from there. Again, this is going to come down to how well Jamal Charles plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. He's their best player. They need him to get involved. He has been doing that the last couple of weeks. He's actually having a very good season thus far this year, and will continue to do so. The turnovers have been killing the Chiefs. They also have killed Chicago a lot this season as well. So that's what it's going to be. I expect a sloppy game in Arrowhead. I'm thinking Chiefs, especially with Andy Reid. He's too good of a coach to not figure it out. Chicago got a win last week, so they'll probably do for about 3 or 4 more losses in the meantime before they get the next win. I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this game. I'd like them to score a good amount because I think the offense is going to break out of it. They're going to get Jamal Charles involved, and Macklin's going to have a big day. And I think Andy Reid's really going to open up the playbook, looking to smack around the Bears a little bit. I like the Chiefs 31-20. The Chiefs to move to 2-3. Chicago, of course, to drop to 1-4. Up next, the Seattle Seahawks are traveling to Cincinnati to play the Bengals. The Bengals are very impressive 4-0 this year. Seattle started off 0-2. They are now 2-2, so they've won 2 straight games. The injury report: Seattle's injuries are Marshawn Lynch, the running back, remains questionable. Fred Jackson, their other running back, is doubtful. Luke Wilson, their tight end, is probable for the Cincinnati Bengals. Adam Jones, their cornerback, or mostly a kick and punt returner, is probable, and Jeremy Hill, the running back, is probable. Now, Seattle has a very good secondary, and they're going to have their hands full the way Andy Dalton's been throwing the ball, and with AJ Green on the field, I'm expecting a very competitive matchup between Richard Sherman and AJ Green. You have a guy like AJ Green, who's a 6'4", very speedy guy, as opposed to Richard Sherman, a 6'3" guy. So the size is there, the speed. It should be one of the more fascinating matchups, and it's nice to see these two guys going up against each other. I believe this is their first matchup since they've been in the league. I don't think they've been in the league long enough to have played against each other the previous time. AJ Green this year threw only 4 games, has 25 receptions for 417 yards and 3 touchdowns. Now, you balance that out, that's 100 receptions, 12 touchdowns, and almost 1,700 yards for a season, which is very impressive. The running backs, unfortunately for Seattle, Russell Wilson's the leading rusher, so maybe unfortunate or fortunate if Marshawn Lynch or Fred Jackson can't go. Fred Jackson being doubtful, Marshawn Lynch being questionable. Giovanni Bernard for Cincinnati's having a good season. He's at 54 carries for 297 yards and a touchdown. That's well over 5 yards per carry. So, very tough game to pick. Seattle's gotten their groove back. They have the secondary. They are traveling on the road. Cincinnati is due for a loss. Will it be this game? I think it will be. I think Seattle's secondary shuts down AJ Green. I think Richard Sherman's going to take the task personally, and I look for him to. I'm not even talking about like shut down as AJ Green plays decent, 5 receptions for 70 yards. I'm talking shut down. Richard Sherman is going to answer the bell in this game. He's going to make AJ Green look bad. Andy Dalton's going to struggle without his big weapon downfield. Giovanni Bernard will play well. But I'm expecting Marshawn Lynch will go in this game and they're going to run the ball well, and Russell Wilson's going to make enough plays to win this game. I like Seattle in a tough game, 24-21 late. All right, moving on now. We have Washington and Atlanta. Washington is traveling to the Falcons. The Falcons 4-0. Very impressive this year. Washington at 2-2. The injury report for the Redskins. Perry Riley Jr., the linebacker, is questionable. D'Angelo Hall, the cornerback, is questionable. That's somewhat good news because it looked a lot worse when he got hurt against the Giants. Chris Culliver, the defensive back, he switches more between safety and corner, but I list him more as a corner. He's out. Deshaun Jackson, the wide receiver, is still out. Jordan Reed, their tight end, is out. And Peter Garcon, the wide receiver, is probable. For the Falcons, Justin Durant, linebacker, out. Tevin Coleman, the running back, who's had a very good start to the season, has missed the past couple games, is probable. Ricardo Allen, the safety, is questionable. Roddy White, the wide receiver, is probable. Leonard Hankerson, the wide receiver, is questionable. Julio Jones, the big-time wide receiver, is probable. Devin Hester, the wide receiver and kick returner, is still on injury reserve. Atlanta is playing very well this year against this weakened Washington secondary. D'Angelo Hall questionable, Chris Culliver being out. You have to wonder exactly what resistance they're going to put up against Matt Ryan throwing the ball to Julio Jones, who has been unstoppable this year. With that being said, Washington is just such a weird team. They're just inconsistent. They'll win games they shouldn't lose to teams they shouldn't lose to. Will this be a game they get? I'm not going to go that far. I think that they're going to expose the secondary a bit. That's Atlanta will expose Washington's secondary. Well, I expect Washington to be very competitive in this game. They're just one of those weird teams, but Atlanta's just too good. They are going to lose eventually. I don't think it's going to be this game, but it wouldn't surprise me if Washington snuck up and beat them. I expect it to be high scoring. Kirk Cousins continues to shine in the replacement of Robert Griffin III, but it's going to be Atlanta late. I like 30-27 Atlanta Falcons in this game. Up next, Florida battle. Jacksonville traveling to Tampa Bay to play the Buccaneers. The injuries, Jacksonville is not listing any. Tampa Bay, Gerald McCoy, the defensive tackle, is questionable. Major Wright, their safety, is probable. And Jonathan Banks, the cornerback, is questionable. So all the injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Jacksonville's 1-3. Tampa Bay is 1-3. I think Jacksonville's been much better than Tampa Bay this season. Tampa Bay, Jameis Winston is, would you consider sitting him at this point? I don't know. I think the only way that a quarterback's going to get better is to play. But if he's going to continually go out there and not see, professional defenses the way he's not seeing them, they're picking them apart, they're baiting them into interceptions, then it might be better to just sit him down. I mean, you figure it's the ultimate question. Is he going to learn by observing or is he going to learn by doing? I don't know. I'd probably leave him out there just because his team's going nowhere. But, that was certainly be an interesting situation. Jacksonville is probably going to kick themselves for not winning that game against against Indianapolis without Andrew Luck last week. They're now 1-3. They really had a chance, especially in a weak division, to stay competitive and show them moving in the right direction against Indianapolis. I expect them to come out, and while it is on the road, it's not heavy travel. I think they probably don't even get on a train. They probably just take the bus down Interstate 4 to Tampa Bay. So the travel's nothing of an issue here. Two bad teams. Jacksonville wants to show they're improving. They've got to come up with this game. I'm looking for Allen Hurns, who's been playing very well to have a big day, especially if Major Wright can't go, or he is probable, or if Gerald McCoy can't get pressure. And I think Blake Bortles for Jacksonville's going to have plenty of time. I like TJ Yeldon to continue to run the ball well, especially if Gerald McCoy can't go. He's questionable, so we'll see if he can go either way. But I'm liking Jacksonville to come out of this one. I think Jameis Winston's going to make some mistakes again. And I like it 23-14 the Jaguars. Alright, so we're going to take another quick break right now. We're going to come back and continue to keep going with the games and checking on that baseball game for you as well. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back with you.